are trying to sleep with other people, and because they're not confident in themselves, they care too much about what other people think. They just leave that information. It's kind of like it's not lying. It's just leaving out information. If you ask some people, that's a lie. If you ask other people, that's just, they didn't ask. Well, people nowadays are still learning that they need to ask. And that's a hard question to ask. I mean, I'm not going to walk up to you and say, what is your sexuality? I like you. It's, and like I said, if you're, like, again, back to the dating site, if you're on there, throw it out there. Unless you talk to the person, they're not going to know your real name. They're going to have maybe 1-2 pictures of you, and they would have to search really, 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 really hard, and they probably still will never find you. So, to the whole joke, like I said, comedians, it's their job to make light of some things. And he could have went too far, but my whole problem, and this isn't just with this scenario.
Mm-hmm.
My problem is a lot of people take what comedians say during their specials to heart. And it's like, listen, they're a comedian. They make fun of things, people, and some of them, yes, may go too far, or some of them may have a certain style that may offend people. If you're not comfortable with who you are, and you get offended, or even if it offends you, give it a bad rating, tell your friends, and move on with your life. Because it's it's really just, in the scheme of things, it may even be bringing to light a situation that is happening that a lot of people don't know about. But to me, whether it's offensive or not, going in, like I said, Dave Chapelle, if you watch him, he can be offensive about a lot of things. And if he offends you, don't take it to heart. It's not like he sat there and, it's not like he's very anti-transgender, anti-anything. It's the fact that he made a joke, or he found something that he thought was funny, or he thought that his audience would think was funny. And if you don't find it funny, you're probably not in his demographic. It kind of, again, goes back down to demographics, where, he's appealing to a certain type of demographic. And if you're not in that and you don't find it funny, again, give it a bad rating. And you could even comment, say, there was a joke in there I found offensive. If you're trans, don't watch it. Whatever. But I feel like some things like this get kind of, everybody gets so mad about it that it's like, listen, it was intended as a joke. It was, meant for people of a certain demographic. It was not meant to, make anybody mad. It was probably meant to make light of a situation, or it was something that he thought was funny that, maybe you didn't find funny, but somebody else did. Like I said, I don't think it should be made a big deal that he made a joke. Now, it could be made a big deal that there, may be people that this may be a problem and it needs to be fixed. Okay, well, I would really want to see and hear more about it. But when it comes down to what comedians say on their specials, you just gotta kind of let it roll off your back and move on. Because like I said, if you care what other people think, what they say, little comments, if you read into every little aspect of what someone says, you're going to find a offense somewhere. It's kind of like a stereotypical, what a lot of people say that girls do. It's like, a guy will say something, and the girl will read into it. Like, my girlfriend will be like, what do you mean by that? I mean exactly what I said. Most guys are very simple. If they say something, that's what they mean.
And sometimes that is the case, but it's, again, looking at in a much broader lens, what is the underlying structure of that sentiment? Sometimes we say things, but it is influenced by what is around us. I told you earlier I wanted to talk about Ben Affleck. He recently said that like the hardest thing an actor, something along the lines like hardest thing an actor can do is essentially like a gay uh, scene. So, and I'm sure maybe for him that was one of the most challenging things he's done. But at the same time, it's like the underlying sentiment to that is being gay is abnormal, therefore it is difficult to act out. So, for a gay actor, though, a gay scene should not be difficult to do. So, I don't know. For me, part of me sees what you say, like okay, like with comedians, sometimes maybe they do need a pass. So, sometimes we do jump the gun, we get angry, and we lash out at people for offending us without giving them a chance to, I guess, respond, to understand why we were offended, to maybe see if there's some sort of middle ground, or to just defend their uh, points. But to me, I just think a little more sensitivity needs to be considered. Like,
Well,
there's always someone, yes, that's the
like
scapegoat, but
here,
there are lines that are drawn. So,
this is my final point. My final point is, you know, it's not that it makes me uncomfortable. It's not that I care. The thing that I care about is I want to be able to walk out my door and not have to walk on eggshells every time I say anything.
yeah.
And it's getting to a point to where I can't say 2 words without consulting 5 people and getting it approved by 3 different committees. That's where I have a problem. Because, it's not that it's not normal. It's not it's affecting my life in a general way. I can't live my life I really can't live my life without, thinking about what I'm going to say 5 times. I mean, you can't be spontaneous anymore. You can't jump up and yell surprise because, you know, someone may not like surprises and they'll get offended. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't know that. I personally, I love to throw surprise parties. So it's one of those things that I'm walking, I work in retail and I like to say Merry Christmas. And I've had people go, Merry Christmas to you too, Happy Hanukkah, because they were Jewish. And I would respond. We don't need to, you know, I think the whole political correctness thing is kind of, you just need to realize that there's different religions and there's different, celebrations. And if somebody says Merry Christmas, you could say Happy Hanukkah. Or you could, find a polite way to let somebody know. Like I said, I've had people that, you know, were Jewish and I said Merry Christmas and they said, you know, Merry Christmas to you too. Happy Hanukkah. And that could even be a conversation starter. I'll be like, "Oh, you celebrate Hanukkah? Yeah. Oh, what's it like?
Hmm.
Why do we have to walk around? Happy holidays. Happy? Well, what holiday is it? Well, it could be Easter, Christmas. To me, I walk out my front door and I have to almost hover because there's so many eggshells that I could step on at any moment that it's irritating. And it's not irritating because there's different races, there's different transgender. I don't care. The fact is, the word offended is used so much these days and if you're offended, I'm sorry. I really am. But, there's some things that you should, and like I said, there's some things that you should just kind of go, maybe he didn't know. But, if I can't walk around and say happy holidays or, because I could probably say 5 things a day that may offend somebody, and I constantly have to think about what I'm saying. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have to think about what you're saying. You should. But you also shouldn't have to live your life tiptoeing around eggshells, doing a salsa dance around everything because you may at some point offend somebody somewhere in the world. Because to me, at that point, it's affecting my life in a way where I can't live. I'm pretty much just stuck in a little corner, just going, you know what I'm saying? And that's my problem, is because it's affecting my life so much that it's bad. Again, I have no problem with gay, straight, transgender, black, white, Asian, anything. I don't care. I really don't. So that's kind of my 2 cents on it. But we are way, 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 way over our time.
Yeah.
Way over. And do you remember what I said when I started this episode, Matthew?
We wanted to do fresh and retro Netflix picks.
I said make sure we had time for fresh and retro.
This was not my fault. We actually skipped my 2 long stories. These were supposed to be the short ones.
Well, okay.
I put all my research into the other ones. We'll get them another time.
So
Maybe.
we're now going to have to squeeze this into the show because we are now 11 minutes over what we should have. But I really wanted to do these because who does not like Scooby-Doo? So, our fresh and retro Netflix pick of the week are Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Doo 2.
Monsters Unleashed. Gotta get the.
Obviously, our retro pick is Scooby-Doo. That's the live action one. And our fresh one is Scooby-Doo 2. Now, before Matthew completely trashes my favorite movies, one of my favorite movies, I thought this was cool. I like all the actors and actresses that play in it. I thought it was a fun concept. I thought it went like the fact that, if you haven't seen it, into the monsters are real. I thought that was cool. Like, it wasn't just like it's a dude dressed in a suit. No, well, I mean, part of 2 that was the case, but it was like these are actual mysteries to be solved. And they even had Scrappy in the first one. And it made me super happy. So Matthew, I unleash you to trash the movies. And I will strongly disagree with everything you say.
Alrighty then. Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Doo 2 are probably the...
By the way, first off.
Yeah.
Just remember this wasn't meant for... This was...
I feel like for the record...
I feel like it was aimed at the kids that grew up with Scooby-Doo who were now older.
Yes.
So it has a lot more older jokes in it.
Yes.
With that being said, go.
Okay. Well, that is one comment I had to make. You have to know Scooby-Doo in order to understand these movies. Otherwise, they make absolutely 0 sense. Like, there's no jumping on point where it makes sense exactly the relationship between these people and, like, how, daily Mystery Inc. Incorporated mysteries go. So you sort of need to know a little Scooby-Doo before you watch these. I hated the fact that the monsters were real.
I loved it.
I mean, in later incarnations of Scooby-Doo, I do believe that did happen, but I like the fact where, no, it's not real. It's, there's someone behind it.
There was somebody behind it.
Yeah. Well.
In both cases.
Yeah, but not really. They used magic, though. They used magic stuff.
They used
and
science.
That's breaking the rules.
They used science.
I'm pretty sure whatever triangle that sucks people's
that was a little
souls.
bit magic.
That's a little magical. So,
I thought it was cool.
I just think the mysteries they tried to outsmart. Like each one tried to outsmart itself. Like who's really behind this? And then it turns out to be someone you didn't expect. And it's where did this even come from? Like in the original, sometimes like
in the original, that's what they always did.
They were a little. They
thought it was. April's dad,
mm-hmm.
in any mystery, April's dad has a secret that he found.
Yeah.
It is always, I think they said, like, the second person that they interview.
Yeah.
Like, it's like Law and Order.
Oh, yeah.
It's always the second person, and there's always 3 people.
Yep.
So they always miss the person the first time through.
But my thing is sometimes the motivation is so thin for how like Scrappy.
I love Scrappy. He's
How
so